Back at it here with the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast with you as always, Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, NFL.com, where you can read his great column. You can read Sam McDowell's work at the Kansas City Star, sports columnist there. My name is Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Chiefs and Bills. It's a big one this week. Is Buffalo and Kansas City. Is this for the AFC's number one seed? We'll talk about that. Are the Bills the best team the Chiefs have played this year? Can the Chiefs protect Mahomes any better than they did last week against the Denver Broncos? How does the Chiefs defense match up with Josh Allen? Bills have got injuries. We'll talk about what they mean to the to this game and how it will play out. How much does missing Butker affect this game for the Kansas City Chiefs? JuJu could be back. Does that make an impact? Who wins this game? We're talking about it all right now here on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast.
You are listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell is the sports columnist for the Kansas City Star. Soren Petro is the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by David Starnes Allstate Insurance, covering all the important things in your world: home, business, life, and even the fun stuff as well. Motorcycle, boat, ATV, you name it. Get with Dave and he'll have you covered. You can give Dave and his crew a call, visit them online, or stop into any of their locations, including North Kansas City, Liberty, and Branson, Missouri. Elevate your coverage, elevate your confidence, and drive worry-free. Don't put those insurance needs off any longer. Get with Dave. He'll give you peace of mind today for the things in your life most important to you. Now, here are the hosts of the Best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro.
All right, thank you very much, Curtis. We do appreciate it. Off and running, and it's a big one, fellas. The Chiefs and Bills. This is basically a matchup of the top two teams. Not basically, it is a matchup of the top two teams in the AFC. And, some people might have been a little surprised with the Bills pulling their best Chiefs impression of being able to trade off or watch their second best wide receiver walk away, but trade away their best wide receiver, Stefon Diggs, in the offseason. But here they sit. Jeff, let's start right there. Even with those departures, are the Buffalo Bills the best team that the Chiefs have faced this season?
Yeah, I mean, they may not have some of the big names that some of the other teams have, but you look at them offensively, you look at them defensively, and you look at the history of them playing against the Chiefs, that tells me that this team is a serious contender, is a serious threat to the Chiefs getting another Super Bowl championship win. And I know people thought that the Bills were going to go away, that they were going to be written off once the salary cap kicked in and they had all these expenses. And
not this group, Jeff. All three of us
right.
Were still on the Bills. Yeah,
we did pick them. And so to me, it's a cautionary tale about doing that when you have a great quarterback and a good coach. It's hard to beat a team like the Bills.
Yeah, it is. How about you, Sam? Is this the best team they faced?
I still think the Ravens are a better team than the Bills. But I'm going to say it's the toughest matchup that the Chiefs have faced. One, because it's on the road. But two, because the Bills are strong where the Chiefs have gotten at teams this year, which is they're really good against the run. They actually have some odd numbers against the run where they've given up like the fifth most explosive plays in the league this year. Like once you actually get past their front seven, their safeties aren't great against the run, so you can get them. That's not something that the Chiefs have exploited this year. It's just like, can you get the 5-6 yards? The Bills have the top stuff percentage in the NFL. Like it's a tough matchup for the front seven of the run game, and I'm interested to see if the Chiefs go back to being a pass-heavy team, because everything about this matchup says you need to throw the ball against the Bills because it's really tough to run up the middle against them. So I think it's the toughest matchup the Chiefs have had, even if it's not the best team they've faced.
Yeah, and I think this is a tough one with the Bills. I mean, I think it might be and I think it probably does come down to the Ravens or the Bills, right? Who is the best team that they've faced? And I think that's why you want to be the one seed if you're any one of those three teams, because you want the other two to have to play each other to get to you. You want to have to only face one of them.
Yeah.
Now there's they could one of them fall down to be in the number 4 seed. We'll see what happens. Houston has a pretty easy schedule. The Bills' schedule's tough right now. Chiefs, I think they got the Lions coming up. Their last 3 leave a little something to be desired. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But I do think it may come down to a referendum simply of who's the better quarterback, right? Because I think if you look at some of the midseason All-Pro teams that are out there, the Chiefs are not getting a lot of accolades, but they're 9-0, right? So much of it, Jeff, does just come back to the quarterback. And is Josh Allen playing his best football right now, even despite losing those receivers?
Well, he's had some games, the last few games, where he's thrown more interceptions, but still his turnovers are way down. He's really bought into what Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator, wants to do. He's become, I think, a more mature player in terms of not trying to force it, taking what defenses give him. And he's got, people rip on their weapons outside of Amari Cooper, maybe Dalton Kincaid, maybe James Cook, but they have a nice complementary mix. It's a lot like what the Chiefs did that first year. They didn't have Tyreek Hill, where they got a speed guy, they got a quick guy, they got a 50-50 guy, couple tight ends, and then you got the quarterback who runs like he's Larry Zonka. And that makes it a lot easier. So you look at the numbers. I mean, Josh Allen has played Patrick Mahomes to a draw when they play. Pretty much every time they played, it's usually come down to his defense, his kicker not making the plays when they have to make them. But no, I think this is as even of a matchup as you can get for a guy like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think maybe the only difference is the ability to soak up the clock, right? Like NFL football for the quarterback and for offenses is becoming a lot like the NBA. It's not just about scoring. It's about scoring and not leaving any time left for your opponent to do it. And 13 seconds you would think would be, you've left not enough time, but it was too much time that Josh.
They had it for 37 minutes in the last playoff game. They had the ball a ton in that game.
Yeah, no doubt. Protection. Any reason to think, Sam, that the Chiefs can protect Patrick Mahomes any better this week than they did against the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, 2 reasons. One, Kingsley Suamataia is not going to be on the field. But the second reason,
sure about that?
100% positive.
But the second is the Bills don't generate pressure. They're 27th in hurry percentage. They're 21st in pressure percentage, and it's because they don't blitz. Like, they blitz the second least of any NFL team this year. Like, they are a team that, like, we've been talking for years about these teams that don't blitz just against the Chiefs, that play this too high stuff just against the Chiefs and make them throw underneath. Like, the Bills do that against everybody. So it's going to be the extreme this weekend against the Chiefs. Like, their opponents have the shortest average depth of target in the entire NFL. And so I think when the defense is forcing you, they're not putting a premium on pressure against the Chiefs, I guess is what I'm saying. And therefore, like, when the opponent helps you out a little bit there, the pressure is not the biggest concern I have going into the week for the Chiefs.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff? What do you think? Better this time around, or do those edge rushers of the Bills, present an even bigger challenge, even if it's Wanya Morris instead of Kingsley Suamataia for every snap?
Well, they've got competent edge rushers. I mean, Greg Rousseau's had some big games this year. Epinesa has played well, but Sam's right. You're not getting like a Nick Bonito come screaming off the edge this week, or a Jonathan Cooper, a Zach Allen. Maybe Ed Oliver's in that realm of player that Zach Allen is. But he's right. The coverage is going to dictate a lot of what Buffalo does. They love to rely on their secondary to drive stuff. And this is a game where there's a reason why Tyreek Hill had so many big games against the Buffalo Bills, because they will give you yards after the catch. They want to try to throw it in front and will rally and tackle you. And so that's where can Travis Kelce and Hopkins, can they make plays after the ball in their hands, even Kareem Hunt out of the backfield, because that will play a huge role in how this game plays out.
Fifth most yards after the catch in the NFL this year they've allowed, Jeff.
Yeah. I think I think the question comes, I think you feel pretty good if Wanya Morris plays. If he plays the whole game, you feel like, okay. I mean, he's solid, right? He's graded better than Donovan Smith did last year. So it puts you somewhere about around where you were last year. Maybe Juwan Taylor's playing better football this year than he was. So maybe you're a little bit better. The question comes if Wanya Morris goes down, which frankly, unfortunately, he usually does for a handful of snaps in most games. And I think the reason why they're going to protect better is even if he does go down, I don't think there's a snowball's chance in how Kingsley Suamataia gets on the field.
No.
Joe Thuney will be the left tackle.
Yes.
And they'll probably call it better.
Yeah, their plan B right now is Joe Thuney at left tackle. I mean, I don't think I'm actually wondering if Kingsley Chadiha is in uniform on Sunday. I believe he will. I believe he will be, because I just think, right now the biggest thing you're working with him is his mental state, is his confidence, and I think it could have long-term ramifications if you don't even dress him for the game. But it is break glass in case of emergency if he's on the field.
The one thing I will never listen to again is how important it is to have all these guys active on game day, because Driscoll should have been in the game. If you needed them all, he would have played, because it couldn't get any worse. And I'm with you, Sam. I think he will dress, because I think it's a psych job, right? Like, I think they're worried about losing him mentally beyond this year. So I think they'll dress him. I don't think it's what's best for the football team, but I think it's absolutely what they're going to do, because I think it's what they feel like they have to do. And, I get it. You want to salvage what you have in a second-round pick, right? You don't want to just write it off, but it's not the most sound active roster they're going to have. Right?
Yeah.
We all agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's one thing about this left tackle discussion, because it's obviously popped up for this week for really good reason. Like, this is a long-term discussion with the Chiefs. You go back to after they tried to get Trent Williams and failed in 2021, they have to trade for a left tackle. They have to franchise tag a left tackle. They have to sign a guy in July to start at left tackle, a veteran. Then they're starting a second-round pick at left tackle. They bench that guy. They're playing a third-round pick from last year. Like, this has been a Band-Aid thing for a really long time for the Chiefs. And as hard as this position is to acquire, I mean, some people should go back and look at the left tackles available last free agency. Like, they weren't out there. This was a situation that falls to the Chiefs in this way because their salary cap space, because of where they pick. Like, we could be having this left tackle discussion for a pretty long time here in Kansas City.
Yeah, no doubt. The left tackle protects the quarterback's blind side. David Starnes Allstate Insurance protects you with all your insurance needs. David Starnes Allstate Insurance, serving the Kansas City area and all throughout the Midwest. With David Starnes Allstate, it's not just about fender benders. Beyond traditional safeguards, enjoy perks like roadside assistance for unexpected breakdowns, transportation expense coverage when your car is in the shop, auto replacement protection to keep you on the road in style, and much more. You can give Dave and his crew a call at 816-781-7331. Visit them online or stop into any of their locations, including North Kansas City, Liberty, and Branson, Missouri. David Starnes, Allstate Insurance. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized, full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Parking lot problems? They've been making them disappear in KC since 1994. Don't risk accidents and liability in your parking lot. Get your lot restriped today. A brightly striped lot will cut down on accidents and keep your lot as safe as possible. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Jeff, let's talk about the Chiefs defense against the Buffalo Bills offense. How do you think Steve Spagnuolo and this defense matches up with Josh Allen and the Bills offense?
Well, it's not a great matchup. I mean, it's always historically been difficult for them to contain him because he's to me, he's the epitome, even Mahomes in there. He's the epitome of the best runner passer in this league. I mean, it's what he can do with his legs, the way he runs, the problems he creates. So that's the first thing you got to deal with. But James Cook, Ray Davis, their running game has become a lot better, and they've become a lot more committed to it. And then you factor in, we'll see if Dalton Kincaid plays. We'll see if Keon Coleman plays. Those are big losses. But this team also has a lot of mix and match elements to it. And Joe Brady, the coordinator, did say that he's used to this by now because they've had to shuffle some pieces around. I think they're going to do what they did last year against the Chiefs and try to control the clock. I think they're going to try to mitigate, Spagnuolo's opportunities to blitz and create problems. And I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think they're going to be very physical against the Chiefs and try to exploit Nick Bolton in coverage and the safeties, all the guys, the second corner, all the guys we've talked about in the past.
Divisional playoff game, Josh Allen, 26 of 39 for 186 and a touchdown, no interceptions. He did carry 12 times for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns. Chiefs win that one 27-24, obviously in advance on to the AFC Championship game. Regular season game, Bills win it 20-17. Josh Allen, 23 of 42, 233, a touch and an INT. Again, 10 carries, only 32 yards, but he runs for a touchdown. The mobile quarterbacks have maybe been a bit of an issue. Sam, what do you think? Those numbers don't blow you away, I actually, when I saw him, I thought he'd had a better day. In the flow of the game, it felt like, I agree with Jeff, he was really getting the better of the Chiefs defense. Numerically, it didn't seem that big. So is it, I don't know, is it bend but don't break? Is that the strategy of Steve Spagnuolo against Allen?
I mean, that is what he had last year in the playoffs. Like, they were content to let the Bills throw underneath and say, hey, beat us deep. Of course, they do beat them deep once, and Stephon Diggs just drops a beautiful pass from Josh Allen, the best pass we saw that day last year in January. But look, I mean, even in the playoffs, like, Josh Allen has played pretty well against the Chiefs. Like, he has a 99 passer rating against the Chiefs, 7 touchdowns in 3 games. And the thing that gets me, and we talked about this with the Ravens, is he's more willing to put his body on the line against this team than he is against other teams. There's a reason why he runs the ball better against the Chiefs than he does other teams, because he's willing to do it. He averages 56 rush yards per game in the 7 times he's played the Chiefs. That's 20 more than against every other team. It's not because the Chiefs are significantly worse at stopping it. It's because they see it more. Like, the Bills are going to utilize his legs more than they do against other teams, because you can't get through a season when you do this for 17 games. But this is a gigantic game, not just for playoff ramifications, but I do think it's important for the Bills to beat the Chiefs. And they're gonna put everything they have into this game, and that includes putting Josh Allen's legs into the game.
Yeah, by the way, Terry says no pressure on Allen will be a problem. I would tend to agree with that. Tommy says, can Chenal in the spying role contain Allen on 3rd down? That's the number one concern in his mind. This would be nice. Brad says Uche will be key in this game. He hasn't been key at this point. Yeah, exactly.
Who is that?
At some point, you would like to see.
He's here.
Yeah, they had a press conference for somebody. Just haven't really seen him since then. So we'll see. Look, whatever they're going to have to contain, it's going to be without Keon Coleman. He's out, already been ruled out. That's their talented rookie wide receiver. Dalton Kincaid didn't practice. He's got a knee injury. Didn't practice on Thursday, as we broadcast here Friday at 10:30. About 10:30 now. 10 a.m. is when we get things started here on the Friday edition of the Red Gold and Bold podcast. If you want to be a part of the conversation and in the stream, limited practice, limited participation for Amari Cooper. He's got a wrist injury. What do those injuries mean in the course of this game, Jeff? If they don't have their receivers, is that, negate what we're talking about here with Josh Allen?
No, I think it puts more onus on the other guys. I mean, Dawson Knox is still a pretty good tight end who's had success against this team. Khalil Shakur and Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins actually has played well for them, the old Raider guy. And so I don't think, again, that so much of what they're relying on in that capacity is essential in this game. I mean, I think Cooper's going to play, which is a big deal. But ultimately, it comes down to who controls the football, not turning it over. I do feel like there's a reason why, like, this is a tough game for like a Mike Pennell to play in. This is a tough game for a Nick Bolton to play in, because the way they want to utilize their personnel, it's hard to match up with that. And so I think you're going to see a lot of creative packages from the Bills and probably some challenges for the Chiefs. But yeah, I don't think that if they were down all 3, it would be a big issue. But I think if Cooper's back, it's not as big of a deal.
Spencer Brown also on the injury report, starting tackle for the Bills. Sam, what do you think the injuries are? We know we talk all year about the Chiefs injuries, but Buffalo's banged up coming into this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills put like 20 guys on the injury report every week. So you kind of wait till today, like this afternoon, to see, okay, is this injury real or is that one real? Yeah. Look, I mean, it matters that Buffalo is missing at least Keon Coleman and potentially other guys in their passing game. But having said that, like, if we're talking about the Bills and their wide receivers as being a key to the game, like, we're ignoring the reason the Bills offense is good, which is they've been really good running the ball, and Josh Allen is a really good quarterback, regardless of who he's throwing to. I think he would tell you what he would miss most without Keon Coleman is the ability, if no one's open, that guy probably has the best chance to catch a jump ball. And so that could come into play in the red zone where, they've got to be more creative. It could come into play on 3rd downs where they've got to be more creative. But as much as I've talked about this year, the Chiefs becoming a run-first team on 1st down, the Bills have the 7th highest rushing rate on 1st down in the entire NFL. Like, they run the ball a lot. That's why they've been significantly better this year, despite, throwing the ball less. They're still really efficient offensively. Having said that, Josh Allen still will take a chance. Like, And we've talked a lot about the Chiefs. They do not get turnovers. They do not generate turnovers with interceptions, with fumbles, whatever it may be. As few interceptions as he's thrown this year, he has a higher turnover-worthy percentage throw than he did a year ago, like by a decent margin. Like he still will put the ball in some risky areas. And Jeff mentioned turnovers. Like the Chiefs might have to match the risk. They might also have to be willing to try and put their hands on some footballs in the game.
Terry says, stop the run. Matt says, well, it's good the Chiefs are good against the run. Brad wants them to cover the backs out of the backfield. I was looking back, and
it's a lot to keep track of. That's the message from that.
Yeah.
And that's true. Like all that stuff is true, by the way.
But what's interesting is they had 118 yards rushing in their 20-17 win in the regular season in week 14 last year. They had 182 in losing in the AFC divisional game. I mean, I do agree.
70 of that from Josh Allen.
Yes, and Josh Allen's always a threat at the goal line too. That's where they're good in the red zone because you have to defend all the guys. I agree, it is a big one, but it's not. Hey, they run the ball, game over, right? Like I think we agree on that. But yeah, it's going to be very important that they stop the run. Because I don't think you want to be sitting there all day. They will just keep running it. I think McDermott, by the way, who gets a lot of, grief. There are 17 coaches in the history of the National Football League that have coached, I think it's at least 56 games. It might be 50 games or more. Anyway, I looked this up on Pro Football Reference. There's 17 coaches in the NFL that have a better regular season win percentage than Andy Reid, and Sean McDermott's one of them. Now it's a shorter time frame. He hasn't gone through a rebuild. I'm not saying he's a better coach because of it, but just like McDermott's he doesn't really get the run. If he gets to a Super Bowl, he'll get more hype. But I thought that was kind of interesting that his win percentage, he's probably as good as the Bills have been, mildly underrated.
He's very Tony Dungy-like before the Colts started winning championships. Like, great defensive mind, good quarterback, big games, kill him type coach.
Absolutely. We're talking about injuries. We'll get into Harrison Butker's injury right after this.
Unlock a premium dispensary experience at Key Cannabis. Visit any one of our 12 Key Cannabis locations across Missouri for a huge selection of cannabis products and expert recommendations from Missouri's friendliest bud tenders. Quick service, convenient online ordering, drive-through pickup, and a fantastic loyalty program. Plus, Key Cannabis offers discounts for veterans, med patients, cannabis industry professionals, seniors, first responders, and students. Visit us in KC North, South KC, and Belton. Open 7 days a week, or shop online at keykannabis.com. Key Cannabis, open for premium cannabis experiences.
All right, let's talk about Harrison Butker, Sam. It's yet another injury. The Chiefs have been able to overcome every injury before now, but at some point it is the straw that broke the camel's back. Harrison Butker expected to be out 3 to 4 weeks. I know he was tweeting today about the surgery. What do you think about the impact he made? His not being in the game will make on this contest?
Yeah, I mean, the most interested, I mentioned, I think it was Jeff, you mentioned this in our group chat, that I'm interested to see if it has an effect is whether or not the Chiefs become more aggressive, whether or not there's actually a little bit of a benefit and they make better decisions on fourth down than what they've been making. Where they are going to miss Harrison Butker, regardless of that, is fourth quarter and late game situations. Like, he is unaffected by the moment, unlike any other kicker I've seen them have. So I went back and looked and just saw, like, over the course of his career, what he's done in fourth quarter and overtime situations. Since he entered the league, he's 73 out of 79. That's 92.5% on fourth quarter and overtimes. Since 2019, so this is 6 years, including this year, he has not missed from inside 50 in the fourth quarter or overtime games. Like, that is a remarkable stat for a kicker. Like, he basically has not choked a kick in the fourth quarter overtime in the last 6 years for this team. His misses are 55, 51, 51, and 52, and the 52-yarder was blocked. Like, he has just been a very clutch kicker in every sense of the word. And late game situation, I could easily see that factoring in to a game.
Jeff, I agree with Sam. I absolutely think it does matter, because you're not going to, which was the game that Andy Reid's like, we'll take the 51-yarder for the win. Yeah. Was it the Bengals game? I can't remember which one that he lined up.
There was a road Bengals game where he tried to kick a 51-yarder to, like, take a lead with about 4 or 5 minutes left or something.
No, but there were he ended one of the games this year with a 51-yard field goal. That was the
end. Where after the Bengals game in week 2, he just decided that they were close enough. Yeah, they didn't need any more yards. Yeah,
51 yards.
Start off running. Yeah,
we're not doing that this week.
Yeah.
right? Like that
Yeah.
it does change the dynamics. I mean, and there are some analytics people I'm sure that are like, yeah, good. He should be going, shouldn't be settling for a 51-yard field goal. But I mean, just having that, Sam's stats are fantastic. Having that safety blanket and knowing that we've got 3. We're here, we've got 3 does, I think, maybe change your mindset. And Andy Reid, I think, probably needs to be more aggressive because he doesn't have that in his back pocket. And does that put them into a danger zone where they're not good enough to be more aggressive in those situations?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, you can want to be more aggressive, but you may be putting yourself in a position where you're asking too much of your players or putting your players in harm's way. It's the way they're playing football right now. Harrison Butker is essential to what they're doing. Anyway, I know they're 9-0, and we've talked about this a lot, but God, there's so many games in there where it's whatever, 2-3 point differential, 1 point differential, and you're asking him to make this clutch kick, if not the game-winning kick, a kick to put them ahead at some point in the fourth quarter, or to ease the pressure on them. And so again, we haven't seen this offense under that kind of pressure, and it seems weird to even say it with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. But yeah, if the Bills get out to a 2-score lead like Denver did, that's a whole different ballgame now. And I do think Butker not being there is a factor in it.
Yeah. Do you think it changes the mindset of Andy Reid, Sam?
I really do. I don't know if it will. I think it absolutely should. I don't know if it will. I mean, these more aggressive situations that I'm talking about should come, when it's a 39-yarder and you're looking at 4th and 1. And that's the situation where I'm wondering, does Andy Reid change his decision? We might not find out. I mean, the Chiefs might not be in that situation at all during this game in Buffalo or over the next few weeks. But look, I mean, those are situations where they should be going for it anyway. And that's what, like I said, I don't know if it will change his mindset, but the end of the game situation that you described, Soren, is the exact situation where I think it will. I don't know if it's going to make them be more aggressive on 4th downs, but yeah, I mean, you can't just assume that 50 yards is close enough at the end of the game, because for most kickers, it's not, just because for your kicker, it has been.
Yeah, I think it's something to watch, what his mindset is, because he has been more aggressive on 4th down. We've got, who is pointing out here, Todd said, scored a TD on 4th down about the San Francisco and Tampa Bay games. He's been willing to be a little bit more aggressive on the 4th downs. One time he was cutting edge because he went for it on a 4th down once. He's kind of fallen behind that, but now we've seen him more often go for it on 4th down. So we'll see if he gets a little bit more aggressive, knowing he doesn't have an automatic kicker waiting for him. JuJu Smith-Schuster coming back, and I think this is interesting. Terry brought it up too. Interesting to see if D-Hop and JuJu together can have an impact. Can they play together, or is it a duplication, Jeff? Do you see the two of them? JuJu's definitely on pace to play in this game. Is there an offense that works with both of them, or do you have two guys trying to do the same thing? And throw in Travis Kelce as well in that underneath intermediate areas, just get too clogged there to have all of them on the field at the same time.
Yeah, I don't see how they all play together. I could see JuJu and Hop together. I could see Kelce and Hop or JuJu together, but I can't see all three on the field at the same time, because I just don't know how you really stress a defense in that way. None of those guys can get down the field, so you're not creating space. And I think you've got to be able to Sam's point, I think you have to be a little more aggressive in this kind of game to find a big play somewhere. And it's not going to happen with those three guys. If they put those three guys on the field together, Buffalo is just going to sit in zone all day long and just, okay, we're going to just throw the ball for 3-4 yards. I don't see it working.
How about you, Sam? Can you see a scenario where they play together?
Yeah, I mean, with Travis Kelce on the bench, I mean, Travis Kelce sits out about 16 to 20% of the plays. So I could see that working out. This week is an odd week for this to happen because the Bills allow underneath stuff, and these are underneath wide receivers. So I do think you have a use for both of these skill sets, and they are different receivers, but they operate in the same space, to Jeff's point. So I don't know which one of those guys I'm running deep. Probably Hopkins. If they're both in the game, you can run him on a sideline route because he can go up and get it even if he can't create space. But I think you're sort of telegraphing yourself if you've got, Hopkins, Smith-Schuster, and Kelce on the same snap.
You mentioned the underneath stuff. Does that make this a McCole Hardman game? He's pretty good on those underneath drags, crosses, those kind of things. Is this, are we looking at barking up the wrong tree when we talk about JuJu getting back? Is this more about McCole Hardman?
Well, they tried last year. Remember, he fumbled that near the goal line, and but that doesn't prove you wrong. It actually proves you right. That like this was part of the scheme last year when they played the Bills. Like they saw it as an opportunity to use his skill set. It just like came back to bite him.
Yeah, Jeff, who do you think has the big day from the receiving corps? If they, is it DeAndre Hopkins? He was blanketed last week. Is this the chance for him to get back going?
I think it's probably Kelsey. It will be the guy. I think that they'll probably try to take Hopkins away, given that he could probably do more things to create more issues for you. I just think Travis at this stage of his career is just not the threat after the catch. And so a big part of this game, and Buffalo, they're talking about it, is Terrell Bernard's going to play in this game. And he didn't play in that game last time they saw the Bills. And he's a pretty athletic linebacker. And I think he can do some things underneath with Kelsey that in his zone defense that other guys can't do. And, people forget that now. Kelsey had the big game against Buffalo, but they were bringing guys in off the street. Like A.J. Klein was playing, left his camper somewhere and showed up for the game. So, yeah, I think that it's probably going to be Kelsey. And Mahomes looks for Kelsey in big games anyway. So I think that's probably going to be where he goes.
The one thing I'll add to that is the Bills are the 6th worst team in the NFL at guarding number 1 wide receivers this year. They're the 8th worst team in the NFL at guarding number 2 wide receivers this year. To Jeff's point, they've had an injury at cornerback that can change that this week, but they've been susceptible to giving up big days to number 1 wide receivers this season.
Yeah, Matt Milano they opened his 21-day window. No one expects him to play. And, boy, that's good news because if you listen to anybody from Buffalo, Matt Milano will beat any team in the league all by himself. They are quite confident in Matt Milano's ability to just single-handedly go out and win the game all by himself. So that is, maybe some good news for the Kansas City Chiefs. Always good news when you talk with our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete and David Starnes Allstate Insurance. David Starnes Allstate Insurance. Elevate your coverage, elevate your confidence, and drive worry-free. Covering all the important things in your world, home, business, life, and even the fun stuff, as well as your motorcycle, boat, ATV, and you name it. Get with Dave, and he'll get you covered. You can give Dave and his crew a call at 816-781-7331. Visit them online or stop into any of their locations, North Kansas City, Liberty, and Branson, Missouri. Don't put those insurance needs off any longer. Get with Dave today. He'll give you peace of mind for the things in your life most important to you. David Starnes, Allstate Insurance. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warning. Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Jeff, is this game for the number 1 seed in the AFC? Is it as simple as that? Whoever wins this will freight train their way to the number 1 seed?
I don't know about freight training, but I think whoever wins it has a nice advantage. Even the Bills will still be 1 game down if they won the game, but they'd have the tiebreaker. And as you said, their schedule is pretty soft the rest of the way. They got the Lions, the Niners, if you want to consider them a threat, but that division is really being very favorable to them now. They get the Patriots and the Jets at the end of the season. But you look at with the Chiefs, if they lose, if the Chiefs win it, they lock it up. But if they lose, we keep talking about that stretch in December. Not having Butker against the Chargers is a big deal. And all of a sudden, their division becomes a bigger factor because the Chargers and the Broncos will be playing for playoff spots in December. And so they're not going to have those easy games to walk away from. So, I think Baltimore's not going to get back into this. There's nobody else who's really in the conversation. So, I think Chiefs win, they lock it up. Bills win. I think they've got a nice road to get to it.
Yeah, it's an interesting schedule since you brought it up, Jeff. They have the Chiefs this week, and then home for the Niners. Oh, boy, that's a tough one. They're 5-4. At what point are the Niners what their record says they are? Well, they got to go to Los Angeles. Those Rams are 4-5. right? But then they do have the Lions. They're on the road for Detroit, but they finish Pats, Jets, at Pats. They finish 3-0 if they need it, right? Like, I don't see the scenario where they drop any one of those three. So they're going to need the Chiefs, if they need help, are going to need it to come over the next 3 games after this one. They can do themselves a world of good, Sam, by winning this game right here. Curtis said the numbers, like when you take the Chiefs, like if you do it by record, just one loss percentage, of the 7 teams that right now hold the playoff spot in the AFC, the Bills' schedule is like, 5th easiest or something. But after they go by the Chiefs and you take that 9-0 off the board for them, it becomes the 2nd easiest, right? So, and you can pile a lot of that on the Lions. I think the Niners are a salty challenge, right? I think most of us still think they're pretty good, but it is really important. It was vitally important to block the field goal against the Broncos, because otherwise this game would be for first place, would be for that number 1 seed. When it's all said and done, will this game be the one that determines who's the 1 seed?
I think that the Bills have a tougher schedule left than the Chiefs, because like if you're a team that's fighting to get into the playoffs, I prefer the Bills schedule to the Chiefs. If you're talking about a team that's trying to like potentially coast for the rest of the year, like the Bills are going to have a harder time going undefeated after this game than the Chiefs are, because they play 2 of the. I mean, look, the betting markets still have the Lions as the number 1 team in the league, and the 49ers are 4th. Like, those are 2 really tough games. The Chiefs' toughest game after this is Houston, which is 9th. Like, if you're talking about trying to go undefeated after this game, I think the Bills are going to have a harder time doing it than the Chiefs. It's over if the Chiefs win this game. Like, the Chiefs are already at 72% on ESPN. They're 69% in the betting market to get the number 1 seed. It's over if the Chiefs win this game. And I know Pittsburgh would be in 2nd place, and they've got to play Pittsburgh. Like, the Pittsburgh's got 2 games against the Ravens. It's over if the Chiefs win. I don't think it's over if the Bills win the game. And I still think you're going to see some of the markets have the Chiefs as a favorite to get the number 1 seed after this game. So I'm not ready to say that this is for the number 1 seed. I think it is one-sided that way, but you've got 2 really tough games for the Bills left on the back end of that schedule.
So you don't think the Chiefs are playing tougher games with the Chargers and the Broncos and the Steelers and the Texans?
Not if you're a team that's trying to go undefeated. I think the Chiefs have an easier time. If you're talking about,
I don't understand that.
Where it's about, the question is about just being the 1 seed.
Winning out.
If you're talking about winning out after this game, if you're talking about winning out, I'd rather have the Chiefs schedule than I would, because the Chiefs don't play anybody as tough as the Lions. They don't play anybody as tough as the 49ers after this game.
The Steelers and the Texans?
By what metric are those tougher games then?
Well, but
have you watched the Texans play this year? Like, their offense sucks right now.
They've got issues, but they lose. Listen, the Lions are having to have a Herculean comeback to beat them.
Yeah,
they stuck Bills
to what? What was the second? They had a Herculean effort to what them? They beat them on the road.
Well, okay. The Chiefs beat the Niners. I mean, it's like,
yes, the Chiefs are a good football team.
Yeah, but the metric you're using is the betting market, right? You're saying
every market has the 49ers and Lions as tougher games than the Texans. By what metric are you using to say the Texans are a tougher game?
But we're saying the Bills are playing 4 other teams that aren't that good. Right, that's the point.
I will.
To me, I look at the Bills and say there's two very, very losable games on that. To the Chiefs schedule, I say there's 5 kind of losable games.
I'm going to push back, because you can't dog the Texans for not beating the Lions and then trumpet the Niners, who are 5-4. Either wins and losses are the metrics, and at that point, the Texans are better, mildly better. They're only 6-4. They've got a very easy schedule.
So that's the one metric you have, that the Texans are better than the 49ers. They're 6-4 instead of 5-4.
Listen, I think there's also just this right now doesn't feel like the Niners season, right? I don't know that I can put my finger on exactly what it is, and Christian McCaffrey's back.
Yeah, they'll have McCaffrey back too.
They do, but they're 5-4 for a reason, right? And so I don't think the Rams are a whole lot. I think if you leave them around, they can be dangerous, because I think Stafford's a pro, McVay can coach, but I don't love what the Rams are doing. And the last 3 is 3-0. And Jeff, you pointed out, I think the factor in here, look, the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Texans are the 4 teams that have to play on Christmas Day. So they are the 4 teams that have to play 3 games in 10 days. Jeff has been talking about this. He talked about it in our last podcast. The Bills don't. So we can talk about the opponents, but those 4 teams, which are 4 of the premium contenders along with the Bills in the AFC, have to go through that gauntlet of playing 3 games in 10 days. I mean, Jeff, I know
your opponent
feel that
your opponent's doing the same thing there, though, right? It's not a rest. It's not a rest disadvantage. But you're not playing.
Yeah,
you're not playing the Bills over that stretch. Like you're not seeing a rest disadvantage over that course of that schedule.
I guess the point where I'm making, and maybe Soren's making it too, the Chiefs have to play the Broncos in Denver, a team that they just needed a block field goal at the end of the game.
Lots
playing
of
a Chargers team that was very physical the first time, didn't have like 5 starters, and the Steelers on the road, and a Texans team that had Nico Collins back. I cannot sit here and say that that's an easier road than seeing the Patriots twice, the Jets at the end of the season, and having to beat the Niners and the I'll give you the Lions, but the Niners and the Rams are not like some. I could see them going 5-1 in that stretch easily.
So statistically, I mean, even like strength of schedule wise, the Chiefs have an easier schedule remaining. Like, you know, DVOA has them with an easier schedule remaining as well. Like
today. Check back in like week 13 or 14 and see what that looks like.
But we're talking about today, right? Like we're talking about the schedule today, right?
Yeah.
But how much of that is weighted off the Chiefs and Lions?
You mean the 49ers and Lions? Well, that's what I'm waiting.
No, because the Chiefs are on the schedule now.
Right now. Yeah.
How much of that is weighted on playing the Chiefs? Because we're talking about we're factoring the Chiefs into what's left of the schedule. We're talking about if you win it. We're taking this game out of the mix.
Yeah.
Right? And certainly the Bills were a tough game for the Chiefs on their schedule. But my point is they have 2 really hard games that I think that this debate basically comes down to, do you think the Niners and Rams are tough games? Yeah. That's what this comes down to. Right?
Not the Rams to me. To me, I think the Bills play 3 of the toughest 4 teams in football left. The Chiefs play the Chiefs, the 49ers, and the Lions. And
the 49ers in this. I just can't see how they're in this conversation. Maybe that's where I'm getting lost. Maybe the analytics are. Differently.
Yeah, we vastly disagree on the 49ers being a good football team. The 49ers will be there.
I don't think anybody disagrees that they're a good team. I think it's a matter of like, should the Bills beat them? Yes.
Was it against Buffalo?
Yeah. The game is in Buffalo.
What do you think the line is for that game?
I don't know, is there a line out?
I haven't seen a line. No, I'm just saying, like, where do you guys put the line for that game? 49ers and Bills.
+4. Bills given 4.
I'd be surprised if it's more than a field goal unless some sort of injury happens this week.
I could see them hanging 2.5 and then the Bills winning by 7, with the Niners trying to drive late and not getting there, or the Bills, Josh Allen goes in with 51 seconds and you go, wow, what a close game, but they won by 7. I don't think they're going to dust the Niners.
What's the second toughest game the Chiefs have on their schedule? And by the way, I'm the one that said that their floor is at a level to where they can lose to a lot of teams. I've been saying that for weeks now, that they could lose to a lot of teams. But what's the second toughest game on the Chiefs schedule remaining?
Are we taking Buffalo off the board?
Yes. After the Bills.
After Buffalo. I believe the second toughest game will be at Denver, because it comes after another. It's not the second toughest team. The Texans are probably the second. I think are the second toughest team for them to play. But the second toughest game is going to be at Denver, because it's the 3rd road game in 4 weeks. It's the 2nd road game in a row, coming off a Steeler team that's going to beat you up, and Denver is a knuckleball for the Chiefs. They don't match up well with them. So I think it's Denver.
I agree it's Denver. They'll have a significant rest advantage in that game, 4 days, extra days to prepare for that game. Like, we all agree that the 49ers are better than Denver, right? Like, we all agree that this Bills schedule is like, they play better teams at the top.
Yeah, Denver has not beaten much in the way of quality. So, yes, I would agree. So my point is here that this argument is based on – and by the way, I think this is a good debate. Like, I don't think that, like, you guys are idiots for thinking the opposite of this. Well, that makes one of you.
my point is that, like, if you are, let's say, the Saints, I think you're going to say, I want that Bills schedule because there's a lot more winnable games in that Bills schedule. And all I'm trying to do is get a couple of wins here. I think if you're talking about the teams that are trying to avoid losses, you look at what's the top of your schedule like? Like, what are the really, really tough games? And I think that the Bills have two really, really tough games that are much tougher than what the Chiefs face. Any game, pick any game. I think they've got two much tougher games.
A better way to ask it, do you think the Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers are the same caliber of opponent?
I think I would much rather play the Steelers than the 49ers.
I disagree. I guess we
Brock
disagree.
Purdy's so much better than Russell Wilson. Are we still on? I mean, because Brock Purdy, and that's a fair. It's okay to say yes because Brock Purdy's that much better. But I think
a lot of reasons. But yes, that's on the list.
Because I think Russell Wilson's really steadied the quarterback position there for the Steelers, and I think it's one of the reasons why they are legit, why they are a threat. Not that Brock Purdy's playing bad, but I think Russell Wilson's at least steady things for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, let's wrap with this. Who wins? Jeff, what do you got?
I think Buffalo start of the year. I like it now, even with the injuries they have. I'll take Buffalo 27-21.
27-21. Sam?
I've got the Chiefs, actually. I think even though they've lost this game 3 straight years in the regular season, and by the way, I went back and forth on who to pick here. Like, it's not a slam dunk for me, but I think that the Chiefs defense is strong where the Bills want to be effective, which is running the ball. So I've got the Chiefs by a field goal, 23-20.
I'm trying to find Matt has been tracking our predictions as to who has been the most accurate, excuse me. And he had up there that Sam is actually right on the Chiefs point total with his numbers. He's put his numbers and how many points Sam has had the Chiefs scoring is exactly how many they've scored. If you total it all up,
I don't know.
Most accurate. Sorry, Matt, that I'm not finding. I'm scrolling back and I wish I had a way to save it so I could have put it up there.
That's kind of funky, but I'll take it.
But not shocking. Jeff has undervalued the Chiefs by 26 points, and I have overvalued the Chiefs by 42. So not shocking.
Right.
So again, I'm sorry, just for my memory, what was your number, Sam?
23-20.
20. Wow, that's exactly where I was going to go. So I'm going to go a little bit different, though. Listen, I can't paint you the picture on how the Chiefs win it, but I auto bet the Chiefs every time they're an underdog, and I've won like 7 in a row since I started doing it. So give me the Chiefs. I'll take it to get a little bit more high scoring. It's interdivisional, so give me the Chiefs. I'll go 27-24. Chiefs get the win. There it is. We'll see how we do. Remember, you can catch us on the Red, Gold, and Bold Tuesday nights at 9:30 p.m. and Fridays at 10 a.m. If you want to be a part of it, we stream live. We're always brought to you by our friends at David Starnes Allstate Insurance. Give Dave and his crew a call at 816-781-7331. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, 30 years solving parking lot problems in Kansas City. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com and by our friends at Key Cannabis, offering discounts for veterans, med patients, cannabis industry professionals, seniors, first responders, and students. Open 7 days a week or shop online at KeyCannabis.com. For Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, Sam McDowell from the Kansas City Star, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast.